To win the heart of the untouchable ice queen of our school, I devised a 7-day countdown to her captivity. On the last day, I had a change of heart. Yet, the very next day after I called it off, I drank the water she offered me. When I came to, my limbs were shackled to a massive bed. The school's ice queen, who usually seemed untouchable and would recoil at the mere sight of a man, was now leaning over me, her icy fingers tracing the contours of my face with a covetous touch. "Why did you stop halfway through?" she whispered. "You got my hopes up for nothing." As he pressed the switch, the light suddenly brightened. In the surveillance screens of 3 walls, it plays back my days and nights of these 3 years without a single blind spot. My dorm, my car, my gym, 10 living rooms, and even in the KTV private room with my childhood friend, Wang Tung. The scene of conspiring that imprisonment plan. Each screen has a timestamp in the lower left corner. The earliest one, from 3 years ago, when new students were checking in at University A. In the frame, there I was 3 years ago, with a lollipop in my mouth, pushed into the school gate by the driver. In the distance, under the shade of the trees, Lu Rian was holding the reporting materials, and she was looking at me. The image has been magnified countless times. The look in his eyes wasn't coldness, nor was it indifference. It is a possession both greedy and restrained upon seeing one's destined treasure. 3 years, number 10. His cold fingertips pressed against my heart. "I have been present in every single day of yours. Are you crazy?" He nodded, tone as if acknowledging that the weather is nice today. "Maybe it is." He picked up the bowl of porridge on the bedside table. She scooped a spoonful, carefully blew on it, and brought it to my lips. "But even the mad need to eat, and so do you. Come on, open your mouth. You untie this thing first." I shook my wrist, and the delicate gold chain jingled softly. "This is illegal detention. Are you aware of that?" He tilted his head and looked at me. A sincere confusion appeared in the expression. "You were planning to illegally detain me as well. The tone is as if you were already planning to invite me to dinner anyway." Casual and easy, I'm totally speechless. He continued speaking, stirring the porridge while chatting about everyday life. All felt so natural. The 7-day confinement plan, was it Wang Tung's idea? "I've already checked out that villa in the suburbs. You've put a lot of thought into the decor. If the goods were sourced from Li Mingyuan, the efficacy would be milder. Did my homework, got extra points." He looked up at me with genuine admiration. The teacher praised the student for having a good attitude, even though they failed the exam. "But then you just flushed the pills down the drain." A flicker of disappointment crossed her face. Not anger, but real, profound disappointment. "I waited and waited for so long, convinced you were actually going to go through with it," she murmured, her voice thick with hurt. "But in the end, you chickened out." She heaved a small, weary sigh, like someone whose long-awaited plans had just been canceled at the last minute. "So I guess it's up to me now." The spoon was brought back to my lips. "Be good and open your mouth. If the porridge gets cold, it won't taste good." The story begins a month ago. My name is Sure Hao, and I am the only child of a financial dynasty. The highest failure rate in university is among the playboys who skip classes. Speeding, splurging money, no one dares to mess with them. No one really takes me seriously. Except for Lu Rian. No, he didn't even take it seriously. He didn't even see me. Queen of the festival in the Department of Computer Science at University A. The universally acknowledged campus heartthrob. The line of guys pursuing her would circle the track 3 times. She didn't look at any of them. I stopped him once. With a cigarette in my mouth, I struck what I thought was the coolest pose. "Can we exchange WeChat?" She passed me by as if I were an inconvenient telephone pole. The brothers behind him laughed so hard they nearly choked. My face was completely lost that day on the 10th. From then on, the name Lu Rian, like a thorn buried deep in the heart. The more you try to remove it, the deeper it goes. My childhood friend Wang Tung couldn't stand by and watch anymore. "Your approach to pursuing women has some issues. That kind of rogue is hitting on someone. In their eyes, it's just a clown putting on a show. Then what do you suggest we do?" He lowered his voice, creating a sense of confinement. "Just the 2 of you. 7 days. You cook for her, keep her company. With no outside distractions, he always sees the real you." I'm staring at him, and you're tempting me to commit a crime. "What crime?" He dismisses the idea with a wave of his hand. "What status does your Sure family hold in the capital? Fix up an unused villa in the suburbs. Flowers and candles. Call it an immersive romantic experience. It's pure idealism, but I'm an even bigger fool. That same night, he had the villa readied. The whole villa was done up in the plain whites and light grays he favors in his clothing. The bedding? Only the finest Egyptian long staple cotton. The bookshelf is filled with the books he borrows most frequently from the library. Wang Tung got a bottle of sleep-inducing medication. The effect is mild, and you wake up after a few hours of sleep. Everything is ready for the scouting day. The plan fell apart before it even got off the ground. Lu Ruyan stood downstairs in the old residential complex where she lived. A man with a fierce and scowling face across the way, grabbing him by the collar and cursing angrily. Where's the money for this month? I'm waiting at the gambling table. What's the use of you wasting money on such useless books? He was pulled so hard that he staggered a step. But he didn't make a sound. No resistance. No begging for mercy. No dodging. Just being dragged along like a lifeless rag doll. I turned the steering wheel, and the car headed straight for the curb. He kicked the man, sending him tumbling to the ground. Who the hell are you? She clutched her stomach as she got up from the floor. I ignored her and turned to look at Lu Ruyan. She stood still in place, her collar askew, with several strands of hair clinging to the side of her face. Those perpetually cool eyes were quietly watching me. Thank you is just 2 words, yet I was completely captivated on the spot. I had someone look into that man right away. He Chong, her stepbrother, was brought over when her mother remarried. Addicted to gambling, he constantly asked her for money. His mother passed away from illness 3 years ago. No one in that house would stand up for her anymore. A single phone call settled He Chong's gambling debt for good. The creditors had been replaced by a group of people 10 times more ruthless than him. He fled overnight and never showed up again. I thought no one would know if I did a good deed. Thinking back now, he didn't even know what time I called. Everything that was said and how many people were sent are all crystal clear. I've been keeping an eye on him ever since I drove He Chong away. Like water rushing out through an open sluice. Just happened to sit across from him in the cafeteria. Add an extra serving of ribs on the sly. It would be a waste not to finish them. She didn't refuse, picked up a piece and slowly ate it. That particular action made my day. Choosing the seat right next to someone in the library. Flipped through the Introduction to Quantum Mechanics for 20 minutes. I didn't read a single word, too busy stealing glances at his profile the whole time. She really looks beautiful when she's focused. The knuckles of the fingers pressed against the foredrip with distinct clarity. Occasionally lick one's lips. I swear, even the way he tucks the pen behind his ear. All are incredibly good-looking. Later, on a stormy night, I inexplicably drove to the neighborhood where he lived. Then I saw him sitting on the steps of the apartment building. The awning is short, and the rain drifts in at a slant. Half of the shoulders soaked through. A cheap suitcase and a few books in front. The forest's edges are curled. The landlord changed the locks. He Chong ran off with all the rent money for the next quarter. She doesn't cry or make a fuss, nor does she call anyone. Just sit quietly in the rain. I dashed into the rain. Probably set a record for my entire life. He tossed his jacket over the other man's head. Lu Ruyan, are you out of your mind? Why are you just sitting here in such heavy rain? He looked at me through the gap in his coat. The lips were somewhat purple from the cold. Number 10 called my name for the first time. Not a classmate, not the air, it's number 10. I crouched down, my voice softening uncontrollably. Come with me. Where to? Find a place to stay first, and we'll figure out the rest later. I picked up his suitcase. The other hand hesitated for a moment. Still, I reached out and grasped his cold fingers, and he didn't pull away. The rain was still falling at that moment. My heart was pounding louder than the thunder. From a perspective I couldn't see. Her rain-drenched bangs hid half her face. A faint smile lifted the corner of her mouth. I settled her into an apartment owned by the Sher family. It wasn't spacious, but it was clean and secure. She stood in the middle of the living room, clutching her old backpack. This is too much. I really can't accept it. Don't stand on ceremony with me. Think of it as me doing a favor. I turned away from him, pretending to fiddle with the aircon. I didn't want her to see my eyes welling up. Why are you so nice to me? I turned to face him. In the lamplight, his hair was still damp. His eyes were fixed on me, calm and steady. Every word I had rehearsed vanished from my mind. Because I can't stand seeing you get picked on. Not exactly the line of a typical domineering CEO, is it? Even a bit timid. He lowered his head, a faint smile flickering at the corner of his mouth. Thank you, 10th. Call me by my name for the second time. I dashed out of the door as if I were fleeing. Panted for a long time in the corridor. Number 10, you're done. That night, he sent me the first message on his own initiative. Hot water, remember to drink. I stared at the screen, dumbstruck for 10 seconds. Then walk into the bathroom. Pour all of those sleeping pills down the toilet. Sure, if you want to pursue someone, do it openly and honestly. The following week was the happiest time of my life. He has started to willingly walk alongside me, though forever separated by half a step. But for me, it's already remarkable. Once he pointed to a problem in my book. You solved it wrong. Write down the correct steps in a few quick strokes. The handwriting was elegant and neat. I tucked that note away under my pillow. So childish. That's just how childish he is. And then, the plot took a turn. A high society soiree hosted by the Sure family. Lou Rian picked up a side gig there. Dressed in a black waitstaff uniform, she glided through the crowd with a tray in hand. Then, Bai Ningbing made her entrance. The heiress, daughter of Mrs. Bai. The undisputed queen of Beijing's high society scene. She's been clinging to me like a shadow since we were kids. She's the kind that everyone believes is the perfect match for Sure Hao. She blocked Lou Rian's path. Holding a wine glass, she looked you up and down with a scrutinizing gaze. Ah, so you're the scholarship student. Do you usually earn your keep by waiting tables like this? Muffled snickers and angry murmurs rippled through the crowd. Lou Rian remained silent. Lou Rian said nothing. I turned to my bestie, covering my mouth with a giggle. Some people are really putting in the effort, aren't they? But to be honest, sometimes, all that effort is actually kind of pitiful. I reached over and took her wine glass. The whole room went dead quiet. Bai Ningbing, you've had enough. I looked straight at her, my tone utterly flat and detached. Your mother wanted me to call you big sister. I did. But some things, you only say once. The first time, I'll let it slide. Say it a second time. You can give it a try. Her face flushed and then paled before she turned and ran away. I walked over to Lou Rian. Let's go. I'm done with this crappy part-time job. Come on, let me treat you to a late-night snack. He looked at me and paused for 2 seconds. Placed the tray on the table next to it. Okay, the first time you said okay to me. With a faint hint of a smile. At the late-night food stall, he took small sips, little by little. Eating caramel pudding. I leaned over the desk with a silly grin. What are you looking at? Looking at you is more interesting than anything else. He put down the spoon and suddenly spoke. Number 10, you should stay away from me. I froze. You don't understand me. The real me is different from what you think. How so? Are you a murderer or a wanted criminal? He didn't laugh, and there was something in his eyes. There is something complex floating in the air. Like a struggle, yet also like a kind of emotions on the verge of breaking free. Haven't forgotten anything, right? This is what he gave me. One and only warning. I missed it perfectly. After that, I decided to formally confess my feelings. A fair and square Friday night. I booked 10 wineries in advance. Had a few sips of liquor to bolster my courage. He arrived, wearing a cream-colored sweater dress. Standing at the end of the corridor. You had a drink? Just a little. I nervously touched my nose. He took a cup of water from the table. Handed over to me. Have some water to sober up. The hand touched the back of the other hand, cold to the touch. I threw my head back and finished it off. She had prepared warm water in advance and set the cup down. The prepared confession rushed to the tip of my tongue. Then everything before my eyes blurred. Not the blurriness from alcohol. It surged up from the depths of my being. Irresistible dizziness. The cup shattered on the floor. I fell forward. A pair of hands caught me firmly. The strength doesn't seem like it should belong to a slender girl. Consciousness rapidly dissipates. In the final glimpse of sight, Lou Rian looked down at me with a smile. Gentle and crazy. An almost pious obsession. I've been waiting for you for so long. Finally, it's my turn. Consciousness sinks into darkness. Opening my eyes again, it was that exact scene from the beginning. Golden chain, 3-sided surveillance wall. And wearing a velvet house dress. There he was, holding a bowl of porridge and smiling at me. Now you know the truth. I thought I was the hunter. But from start to finish, I was the prey. And what followed was even more unbelievable. I refused to eat anything. My final act of resistance, refusing to eat. If you don't eat, you'll starve. So be it. You can survive for weeks with just water. Long before you're in any real danger. I can administer in 4, he paused. I've attempted a hunger strike before. And lasted 19 hours. It wasn't due to a lack of willpower. It was just that his sweet osmanthus lotus root porridge smelled absolutely divine. Its aroma wafted in under the door, and my stomach betrayed me with a loud, rumbling protest. She walked in carrying a bowl, her expression impassive, but the corner of her mouth twitched. She was holding back a laugh. "I won't eat it," I said, turning my head away. Placing the bowl on the bedside table, she walked away. 5 minutes passed, then 10. The sweet scent of osmanthus filled the room. Lou Ryan. The door swung open silently. He was leaning against the doorframe. He was holding a book. The bookmark was still on the same page from that night. He wasn't really reading. He had been waiting outside, hoping I'd call for him. I never said I'd eat it. It was just an eyesore. "Move it closer." He sat down on the edge of the bed, scooped a spoonful, and blew on it. Handed to my mouth. I closed my eyes, opened my mouth. It's sweet and sticky, just the right temperature. She spoon-fed him the entire bowl. Finally, he reached out and wiped the residue from the corner of my mouth. The movements are incredibly natural, as if it had been rehearsed 1,000 times since that day. His feeding was never met with resistance again. The days passed by. He remembered that I don't eat cilantro. The milk should be warm, not scalding. The crust should be cut off the toast. He even remembers things from my childhood that I casually mentioned once on social media, that even I had forgotten all about. I like my steamed egg custard to have a caramel-colored top. Every morning, the surface of my egg custard is a perfect caramel-colored layer. He even stocked up on that mint toothpaste I used for 3 years that's been discontinued, which he went and stocked up on. A 20-year supply. He had been preparing for this day at least a year ago. This should scare me. But he squatted in front of me. "Tie the robe belt, look up, and say, 'What do you feel like eating today?'" That string of fear is always too taut to relax. She began to bathe me. The first time, I was furious. "You go out with one of your hands locked. I can't open it myself. What if you try to run away?" He checked the water temperature and said matter-of-factly, "Not until the day you call the shots. Only then will I set you free." His touch was feather-light. The towel moved with the utmost care, with a solemnity that bordered on reverence, as if polishing a priceless treasure. I clenched my jaw, refusing to utter a word. My ears were burning hot, practically hot enough to fry an egg. The second time around, it went much smoother. By the third time, I had stopped cursing. On the fourth try, she asked if the water temperature was all right. To my own surprise, I actually answered earnestly, "A bit hotter, please." Then I freaked myself out. I was going along with it. That evening, he started reading bedtime stories. Yeah, to a full-grown 21-year-old man. "Tell me a bedtime story." "Once upon a time, there was a girl. The first time she laid eyes on a boy." "Stop, don't read anymore." He was loud and full of himself. But as he passed by, he left a trail of lavender in the air. I said, "Stop it." The girl thought to herself, "My life is over." She closed the notebook filled with her handwritten story. Leaning down, she brushed a kiss against my forehead. "Good night, 10. I rolled over, hiding my face in the pillow. My heart is pounding like a drum. He wrote many stories. Each one is about a girl and a boy. The girl always watches the boy from the shadows. Remember everything about him. Doing everything she could for him. The boy will never know. Once upon an evening, a story was told. Finally, the girl mustered the courage to stand before the boy. I pressed him for an answer, and he just froze. It was the first time I'd ever been the one to push for a response. Then she looked down, her eyelashes fluttering. And then she realized she was standing right there in front of him. She was completely tongue-tied. Why? Because I was head over heels for him. Silence hung in the air for a few seconds. When you're really crazy about someone, the words just won't come out. All you can do is show it. I didn't say anything in reply. But that night, I didn't roll over and turn my back to her. I lay there staring at the ceiling, hearing her pacing back and forth outside the door, thinking of the girl who can never be spoken of. In the meantime, I tried stealing phones, smashing glass, and faking illness. He always anticipates in advance. That time when he stole the phone, he had left it on the table before going out. I struggled for half an hour before I finally got a touch. I tried the unlock password 3 times, and each time it was my birthday. Her voice came from the doorway. "The password is a combination of our birthdays." You pointed at the door frame. You looked a little regretful. As I thought, you really don't care about me. You've locked me up and still expect me to care for you? Fair point. So I'll just have to try harder. When I tried to break the lock, I spent 2 hours grinding it against the edge of the nightstand. The chain didn't budge an inch. He came downstairs and saw my hands covered in red marks. Without a word, he grabbed my hand and went for a titanium alloy power saw. Even that would take a solid 20 minutes. Next time, let me know in advance to put on gloves for you. That time I pretended to be sick, he brought out the blood pressure monitor and stethoscope. Heart rate normal, blood pressure normal. Next time, make your show-off more convincing. I have foundation in my drawer. Which shade do you need? One night, I woke up and he hadn't left. Sitting on the floor beside the bed, leaning back against the edge of the bed. Fell asleep with knees hugged, holding onto a corner of my clothes. No cold detachment, no scheming. A girl too tired to let go. I moved slightly, and she woke up immediately. You had a nightmare. Why don't you go back to sleep? Afraid you might feel unwell in the middle of the night. I moved further in. He froze for a second, carefully crawling up to lie next to me. I held my breath. Can I get a little closer? It's up to you. She buried her face into my shoulder. Thank you for not disliking me. I said nothing, because I've already lost track of whether I even dislike him anymore. No, that's not it. I know I don't dislike him. I've even started to feel anticipation. To that muffled thump at 7 every morning. Just like Pavlov's dog. The sound of his footsteps makes my heart race. It's not fear. It's anticipation. This damn anticipation. He handles the paperwork for 10 companies for me. Comments are logically and meticulously addressed to the McKinsey report. There are 3 loopholes in your father's legal contract template. I've marked it out. Wang Tung is frantically looking for me. He fabricated the illusion of my traveling abroad right in front of me. Location, Maldives on Moments. AI synthesized a voice message and sent it to Wang Tung via WeChat. Stop looking. I'll come back when I'm done playing. Wang Tung, bring me a pack of Marlboros. Who on earth are you? He turned off the computer and looked at me very seriously. Someone who likes you. On the morning of the 28th day, the door opened. He didn't bring breakfast. In hand is an access card and a cell phone. She knelt by the bed and unlocked the gold chain with a key. The lock clicked open with a faint, soft snap. If you think this is torture, you can leave. His voice was eerily calm, but the fingertip of the hand hanging at the side was trembling slightly. The access card can be used to exit this building. It takes 40 minutes to get home by taxi from the East 5th Ring Road. I'm going to buy groceries. You decide for yourself. The door is closed. I stood up, clutching the access card in my hand. First time getting out of bed in 28 days, my legs feel a bit weak. Opening the door, the stairs, corridors, and elevators were all clear and accessible. I walked out of the building, and the sunlight was so bright I couldn't open my eyes. Traffic roars past on East 5th Ring Road. We're free. I went home, took a shower, and changed my clothes. Falling onto a $20,000 mattress. Opened a bottle of wine worth $80,000, took a sip, and set it down. Not this flavor. It wasn't the perfectly brewed jasmine tea he made. Ordered takeout and took a bite, but didn't want to eat it. It wasn't him who made the lotus root starch with osmanthus. It was not the kind of seriousness he had when trimming the crust off his toast. On the first day, tell yourself this is called returning to normal. The next day, I saw the packaging of sweet osmanthus lotus root powder in the supermarket. I stood in front of the shelf for 5 minutes. Woke up at 2 a.m. on the 3rd day. Conditioned reflex made him turn to the side, but the space beside him was empty. There was no warmth of him resting in the crook of my shoulder. I stared at the empty pillow for a long time. Then I did something even I found utterly outrageous. I opened my phone and searched for how to make lotus root starch with osmanthus. I've read the tutorial I found 3 times. On the 4th day, I caused a ruckus in the kitchen. The lotus root starch has cooked into a lumpy paste. The osmanthus is too overpowering, making it unbearably bitter. I sat at the dining table, holding the bowl of my failed creation. Suddenly I laughed, and as I laughed, my eyes grew moist. The bowl he made was sweet, sticky, and just the right temperature. The marks on the wrist are fading. I don't want it to fade. Wang Tung brought a group of brothers to welcome him. The bar is booked for a private event, and Bai Ningbing is also here. Eager 90, long time no see. Smile is exquisite, makeup is flawless. My mind is filled with the image of Lu Ruyan in a velvet dress, kneeling down to help me tie the robe's sash. Wang Tung left first, chasing after him. What's going on? You just got back and you're leaving already. I returned home and pulled the gold chain from my pocket. taken secretly when leaving, on the inner velvet lining. There was a line of small characters, engraved with a date. On September 2nd, 2023, the day of freshman registration. The first day she liked me. I clenched the chain in my palm, held tight the whole night. On the fifth day, I went to Lida, just telling myself it's just a casual stroll. The steps are beyond control. Walking towards the library he often visited. Then the campus heartthrob Jiang Tao stood in front of Lu Ruyan, a bouquet of white roses in hand. Lu Ruyan, I've liked you for a long time. Can I have a chance? Someone around is egging on. My blood froze in that instant. Rushed to the top of my head. Lu Ruyan bowed his head, taking a moment before he responded. Then, at an agonizingly slow pace, his gaze shifted away from Jiang Tao, cut through the crowd, and landed unerringly on me, hidden away in the corner for a mere second. But what was conveyed in that fleeting instant hit me like a bolt from the blue. He was waiting for me to break the chain, to let go of my phone, to set myself free. Even this grand confession unfolding right before me. It was all his master plan, playing hard to get, a tactical retreat to draw me closer. But even though I knew it was all his game, I still lost my mind. I charged out from the crowd, shoved Jiang Tao aside, and grabbed her wrist. She's taken. Who do you think you are? I'm her man. That stormy night, I kicked the door to his rented room right open. He stood in the cramped living room, looking at me. The expression carried a calm that was to be expected. I was soaked to the bone, my eyes red and teary, pinning her against the wall. You've kept me locked up for so long. Now you want to back out just like that? Is the library doing it on purpose? Make Jiang Tao confess his feelings in front of me. Letting me go was also intentional. Are you really that confident? I'll be back. He fell silent for a moment. Then she reached out, her fingertips cool to the touch. Wiped the rain off my face. Not sure. His voice trailed off. These 20 days. It was the toughest time of my life. Every day I wonder, will he ever come back? Does he hate me? Her fingers rested on my cheekbones. It paused for a moment. On the 12th day, I almost want to find you. Why didn't you show up? Because if you weren't the one who chose to come back, it wouldn't mean a thing. I kissed him, a rough, clumsy kiss, carrying the briny taste of rain and tears. He froze for a heartbeat. Then his fingers tangled in my hair as he kissed me back. Forehead to forehead, we gasped for breath. Number 10, you're back. It wasn't a question, it was a statement of fact. I took the gold chain out of my pocket. His eyes widened slightly. With a click, I fastened the chain onto my own wrist. Then stuffed the key into his palm and make sure he doesn't lose it. He looked down at the key in his palm. That face, so cold and pale. A facial expression I've never seen before appeared. Not gentle, not crazy. It was a kind of joy that had been suppressed for too long, teetering on the edge of breaking into tears. His eyes turned red. Lu Ruyan, a lofty and unattainable flower, a hacking genius. The cunning hunter wept. Number 10, I've been waiting for you for 3 years and 72 days. I pulled her into my arms. No need to wait. No need to wait any longer. After we officially got together, I discovered even more. There is a folder on the phone called Tinhak. It started 3 years ago. With over 3,000 photos, the angles are as cleverly captured as in a professional documentary. In the box deep inside the wardrobe, the discarded ballpoint pen refills, cola bottles, and drafts. Each piece is cleaned, sorted, and labeled with a date. I was calculating on that draft paper at the time. How much does it cost to pursue you? She leaned on my shoulder. I know you don't have to spend any money. Just you being here is enough. The Sure family is in an uproar. My dad slammed the table. What kind of girlfriend did you get? It's impossible to find out her background. Bai Ningbing's mom is also adding to the chaos. I was about to lose my temper. Lu Ruyan walked in. Not the canvas shoes and backpack dragonfly top student. A black suit dress. The aura is as cold and sharp as an unsheathed blade. 2 assistants behind. Hello, uncle and auntie. She handed over her business card. My dad's expression changed in 3 seconds, experiencing the entire process from disdain to shock, and then turning pale. Night Snack Capital founder. The real power behind Elf Fund. Last year, they acquired 3 companies listed on the Nasdaq. The living room was dead silent. You could hear a pin drop. Dad flipped the business card over, then back to the front. His mouth gaped open and shut, like a fish gasping on land. She turned to Mrs. Bai, her polite, Senior number 10, Are you really okay? Why nothing? It's just that she used to be in the dormitory. She bit her lower lip and finally swallowed her words. As long as you're happy, that's all that matters. She glanced back at Lu Ruyan before she left. There was a certain look in those eyes that, something I don't quite understand. It felt like relief, yet also like lingering fear. After marriage, the basement was converted into a private cinema. 3 screens switched from surveillance to movies. A gold chain made into a pair of bracelets. The inner side is engraved with September 2nd, 2023. Late one night, she nestled in my arms. Half asleep, half awake, the willows are like mist. That glass of water actually, at that time, I didn't guard against him at all. My body stiffened for a moment. Then I slowly lifted my head. What? My mind was completely filled with. How can I confess my feelings to you? I didn't notice anything unusual about the water at all. So you were actually fooled by me? I pulled her back and pressed her into my embrace. But luckily I drank it. Why? Because if you don't drink it, I had no idea you could too. As crazy as me, maybe even crazier. He kept his face buried against my chest for a long, quiet moment. Then he bit me, and it really hurt. Then, right on that same spot, he gave it a soft kiss. Don't you ever put yourself at risk like that again. Promise me. What if I don't? I still have a spare set of chains. A year later, I was holding my daughter, Shia, in my arms, spinning around in circles in the living room. The little one giggled uncontrollably. Lu Ruyan leaned against the doorframe. Her eyes narrowed with a dangerous glint. Number 10, you held her for longer today. 47 minutes longer than you held me. You actually timed that? Even if she's your daughter, that's still not okay. She strode over, passed their daughter to the nanny, then hauled me off to the bedroom. You're mine. Not even our daughter gets to steal you. The door clicked shut behind us. The nanny sighed, seeing the young mistress was jealous again. Jealous of her own daughter. The daughter, blissfully unaware, sucks on her fingers. She has no idea that her mother's love is a meticulously planned chess game where every move has been carefully calculated from the start. Yet, her father is the only person who, fully aware it's a game, still willingly plays along. Not a fool, but a kindred spirit. In the end, who is the hunter and who is the prey? Can't tell them apart. But it's fine, they're all in it willingly.